Hello, everybody. Sorry, I was a minute late. I just caught Velma with another pair of my underpants. So now she's in her crate because she likes to eat underpants. You can throw them out. We're not going to save them. We don't have to keep those. No, I don't want them back. There's no crotch. Hello. So I haven't seen anybody pop in yet. I just see numbers. So I'm hoping that it's going to show me. There we go. Gabby's here. Nicole is here. So welcome, welcome. Stephanie's here. We are getting ready to tackle getting kids to bed. Okay. Hello, Christina. Hello, Sherry. Oh, it is Sunday night. We all are tired. So if you have to rewatch it, no problem. It will live here. And we are also, hello, Trisha, downloading these so that you can have YouTube links. Thank you. So this is chapters 6 and 7, which are marriage poop and dream poop that we're going to go through. And I thought I'd start with Shayna. It's tough. I think our brains are just fried in general because we're moms and we have constant mom brain, and that's a real thing, I'm sure. Oh, Christina, I know. I read your post earlier. We are here for you. We are thinking about you. We are praying for you. No, you don't have your papers, no printer. Well, that's okay. We can go along. All right. So I thought I would read a little part of this and then go into the marriage. Go through the marriage one first. And this talks to. This is newlywed marriage stuff. All right. We were newlyweds, maybe married for just over a year. My husband woke up sick, not man cold sick, really sick. We thought it was an awful stomach flu, but after he progressively got worse, we went to the emergency room. It was, in fact, his appendix. It had ruptured and it was leaking fluid into his abdomen. He was rushed back to emergency surgery. I had never been so nervous in my life. What if he died on the table? What if there were complications? What if? After a few hours, the surgeon came out and addressed his mom first, then me. Par for the course. I was taken back to see him, and he looked so sad. He was in fact fine, but seeing him in a hospital bed was very unnerving. I stayed with him for 2 days like a wonderful doting wife. I like to think back and remember being pleasant and loving towards him, but that probably wasn't true. I'm sure I was snippy and snarky, which is my true inner beauty. The nurse came in and explained that my husband would need to do a number 2 prior to his release from the hospital. She explained that she was going to need to get him to go. She showed him the suppository and said, I can do it, or she can do it, pointing at me. My eyes were as big as saucers. Me? Why on earth would I do that? My husband turned and looked at the nurse and said, she'll do it. I was handed a medical-grade examination glove, a tube of lubricant, and the suppository. Can I help you, sweetie?
You're welcome. Really? That's the story you're going to share? Seriously?
Yep. I did the deed. I mentally blocked out most of it, but I got the job done. Later that evening, I walked past the nurse's station, and one of the nurses looked at me and said with a smile, "You're a great girlfriend to help him out like that." I cocked my head to the side and said, if I was his girlfriend, you can bet your sweet ass I wouldn't have stuck my finger up his butt. That's my husband. I had to. We all go through things in marriage that we don't want to do. I can guarantee that when the business manager reads this portion of the book, he will want it deleted, and I will have to remind him that I helped him poop back in 2004. And so the point of that, and starting with that, is really, that's what marriage is about. It's about give and take, doing things we don't necessarily want to do, but it's for the betterment of our partner. He has done plenty of things for me that I can guarantee you he has not wanted to do. I remember his face when I was giving birth, and it was a look of just sheer panic and really, really, I think he was really, really sad that what was once one of his most prized possessions didn't look like it used to anymore. So we all kind of go through this. Good night, buddy. I love you. Okay, I think I've lost comments. Maybe not. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here and get our binder out in front. Is everybody still here? Can I get a heart or a thumbs up or something? Something? Yeah, okay. All right, cool. Just checking, guys, just checking. All right, so the workbook starts out by saying marriage is a relationship that requires constant attention. Communicate your needs without expectation, which is really tough to do, by the way, because we all expect something. Especially when we do something, we expect something in return. I think that is human nature. I think so. Okay. Let's see. Use this section to get serious about your marriage poop. Single, don't skip. Focus on what you can do to improve communication with friends, family, or children. All right. So 5 areas and how you can improve your communication. So what are 5? I know, Christina, I'm sorry. So what are 5 ways, hey, Crystal, that you can improve your communication? Whether this is in the marriage relationship that we're discussing or with your family. And I think number 1 is definitely what we just said. I love you. Give me a kiss.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Is targeting the fact that you listen or engage in communication without expecting something in return. Sometimes you just have to be that shoulder, that open ear. And I think a lot of times what men struggle with, and I know at least my husband, when I'm trying to communicate with him about an issue that I'm having or a problem I'm having, his automatic response to me is to try and solve it. And sometimes I don't want him to solve it. I just want him to listen to me. And I'm a repeater. And you guys know this of me. I repeat things over and over again, especially when I'm upset about them. And so all I want him to do is listen. Whether it's the 87th time I've told him the same thing, I just want him to listen. And all he wants me to do is shut up and try to get me to solve the problem. And that is really tough. So that's something that we have constantly been working on in our marriage. For us, I think another way is to go in and communicate with your partner without this preconceived notion of who's right and who's wrong, because that's also tough. And so you kind of bring your issues to the table and say, okay, this is what's going on. This is where I'm at. And let them bring theirs. And then you can try and start to hash out where you are, because the end goal is, I think, to really meet in the middle. Because compromise is tough. Yeah, Ashley is saying that. Nicole is saying that. Somebody else just said it too, that they're repeaters, especially if they feel like they're not being listened to. And I think that's when I repeat even more, is when it's like, nobody's listening, I'll say it again. Nobody's listening, I'll say it again. Yeah, LOL, Gabby. So I think a lot of times, for me, we have to try and find a way to meet in the middle. So I'm trying to think of a couple of other ones, because we've really had to relearn or learn for the first time probably about communication over the past 3-4 years. I've said this time and again as well, when trying to communicate with your spouse is not, yes, Gloria, I need to listen more before I shut the person off. That's a big one. And absolutely, that's a huge one. I think you have to remember that your spouse or your family member isn't psychic. And just because you have a need doesn't mean that they know what the need is, and it doesn't mean that they know how to fulfill the need or fix the need or care for the need. And so if you know what it is that you need, just tell them. Whatever it is, just tell them what it is, okay? Because they don't need to guess. And I think sometimes we want them to guess because we want them to, it was like I don't know if any of you were in here. I know some of you were in here last night where I said to the business manager, I want you to guess my favorite Garth Brooks songs, what were in my top 5 or blah, 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 or whatever. And yes, you won. You nailed it. But you don't, when it comes down to communication and what you actually really need and want in your relationship, you don't want them to guess, and you don't want them, hey, Renee, you don't want them to have to try and be psychic because they can't. Okay, they absolutely can't. So it's really important that you are very specific. And so a lot of times when I'm talking with him, I will say to him, I need X, Y, and Z. And that's all I need from you. I don't need any of these other things. But right now, in this moment in time, this is what I need from you. And it can be as something in black and white as, I need you to take this trash out right this very minute. Because I asked you to do it 27 times. You've yet to do it. And it's ticking me off because I'm continuing to do all of these things. And all I asked you to do was take this trash out. And you've said you'd do it. And it's now been 2 hours and you've not taken out the trash. So it's a very specific thing that I'm asking him that I need, and he's continuing to tell me that he needs something else. He needs a minute. I need a minute. I'll get to it. I need a minute. Well, I've given you 90 minutes. I've given you 90 of the minutes that you've asked for. And so a lot of times it's just because he's gotten distracted or I've gotten distracted or whatever, because that's been, roles have been reversed. And so at that moment in time, this is what I need. I need you to take the damn trash out right now because I asked an hour and a half ago. And so, yes, that's in every house. Yes, they need a minute. Yes. And we do the same thing. We do it to them as well. Because there will be times when he's telling me something and I'm just saying, I need a minute, I need a minute, I need a minute, and it doesn't get done. And then I forget because of our mom brains. But here's the thing. If we don't give them specific instructions, just like if they don't give us specific instructions, we end up in this weird space in terms of communication where nobody is getting what they actually want or need. And then you start to feel ignored. So if you've not printed out your sheets or you don't have this, I really urge you to go through writing these down on the Let's Chat chart and then how you could work through those. Right, because then you do what, Christina? You end up doing it yourself and then you resent him for not taking out the trash or doing the dish or scrubbing the toilet or doing whatever. Hey, Connie. Or Stephanie, they say, I was just about to do that. And then you build resentment and you build and you build and you build. And this just happened. I was just talking with Eric and Trey about this, and I'll use that example in a minute. But 5 tips for fighting less. Think before you speak. Don't use words like always, never, or you suck, because that's just not nice, okay? Appreciation and affection. Verbal praise goes a long way. If that fails, option 2, give some affection. It diffuses certain situations. Let it go, which is a huge one, and it took me so long to realize. The next time the sink is full of dishes, buy paper plates. Eventually he'll catch on. Or you do say, and I have done this, you said you were going to do the dishes? Okay, I'll let you get to them. And I have let the sink sit for 2 days and not done it. Because guess what? He had to go in and do it because he said he was, and I waited and waited. And on that end of that second night, he did it. And I've waited him out. You guys know this. I have waited him out. I have waited him out on a suitcase before for how long? Guys, we went over a month. I think we went over 2 months. I don't remember. It was last summer. But it was forever. Okay? It was forever. It was over a year ago. But it was forever and ever. And I didn't go in because guess what? I didn't need his underwear. I didn't need his clothes to get out of there. If he wants to let it sit in that suitcase, that's his problem. So there are certain things that I don't have to worry about anymore, and I don't have to have that resentment for. And you have to pick that. That's a battle. Have an outlet. Have a glass of wine. Head for your hideout when you get frustrated. And obviously find your tribe. Because this is our tribe, right? This is our tribe. This is what we do for each other. Stephanie says, I went on strike. It had been a week. Now he's out of town, and I gave in. I couldn't stand it anymore. 4-month waited out in his bathroom. Yuck. I know, guys. It's tough. No matter, okay. So, because that actually is, that's all we had for the marriage one. So I wanted to do a quick story before we transition into the other one. So Trey and Eric have been, I think, together for around 7 years, married for 3, and parents for the last 14 months, right? Because Mason turned a year in September, so he'll be, November's 14 months. And so Eric was out of town for almost 5 days this past week. He was at bank camp. Remember, we talked about bank camp. And so Trey was home. Absolutely, Ashley. Trey was home for that entire time with Mason for the first time really and truly by himself for that extended period of time where Eric was gone for the night and everything like that. Now, Trey is pretty much the primary if we want to assign roles because he is really, he bonded really well with the baby and he's done really well. But this was the first time that Eric had to go away and it was like legit real. And he was on call 24/7 with this kid and so on and so forth. And so they actually had a little bit of a fight when Eric came home over the weekend because I think Trey kept everything in. He was frustrated, even though he knew Eric had left for work. There was still resentment and frustration because he was gone and he was with the baby all the time and he was doing all of the things and trying to keep the house clean and trying to keep up with the laundry and trying to keep up with the blah, blah, blah. And even though Eric came home and said to him, hey, I'm really happy. You did such a great job. I could have never done this. You were so wonderful. All of that great stuff. He still had that resentment, which is, I think, a human response. We have that. When my husband goes out of town or when I go out of town, there is resentment and there are things that happen and go on. And a lot of times we have to learn to let that go because, yeah, he did leave to go for work. Yeah, he left to go for work. It still sucked that you were home all by yourself taking care of all of the things. But even though you know he was gone and he had no control over it, you're still going to feel that resentment. So you have to learn how to channel that and communicate it through so that nobody gets upset about that. Yeah, Gabby, it's hard. You hate it. It's really tough. So you have to really decide, okay, you have to be, I think that what I'm trying to get at is you have to be, what's the word? Cognizant. I think that's the right word, that you're doing it. Because yes, it is tough. Renee says, I just feel overwhelmed. Jason keeps getting called into work and you're doing everything. And it's a natural reaction. It's a natural reaction. So it's tough. And so all I'm saying is when you get back together, when they come home from work, when they're home from their trip, when things kind of die down, you have to really be aware of how you're dealing with that situation because your anger and frustration. And right, logic doesn't influence that stress. It's crazy, but you have to be aware that you're doing it. Because I didn't even know I was doing it until I caught myself one time. And I was like, holy crap. Like, I'm mad at him for something that's completely out of his control because of the stress that it puts me under. So now I'm putting him under the stress. Why are you up again? I'm not smiling. You need to go lay down. I love you. Goodbye. Right, Kelly, exactly. It's so tough every time they leave or things go on. And then, and of course, when they get home, it's okay to hand the kids over and say, look, I'm going to take a break or do this, that, or the other thing. Right, and you feel like your husband's away on vacation and you're in some kind of prison with the kids, and it is hard. That is so hard to do. And when I'm mad and stressed, Christina says she gets very quiet and then you recoil. It is not easy, guys, but we have to be aware that we're doing it. If we're aware that we're doing it, we can communicate it so much better. You can say things like, I feel overwhelmed because you've been gone for 3 days. I'm exhausted from being by myself and taking care of all of the things. I logically know that you were not on vacation, you were at work, and this was hard on you too. Okay, and I am going to do my best to process this and understand that this was not like you did something wrong, but I have to be able to go through this and talk those things out with your spouse because that is going to be key in making a difference. Talking that conversation out will be a big deal. He does pretty good because he basically is very honest with me and he says, when you're gone, there are things that you do that I will not do. Because like we joke every time, but when I'm gone, guys, he really doesn't do laundry. And I don't even expect him to do it anymore because he can't keep up with it. He can't get it done. And I'd rather he not touch it and I just take care of it when I get home. So he's honest with me and he tells me, I'm not going to do these things. I'm not going to do laundry while you're gone. I'm going to take the kids out to eat every night and I'm only going to get what I can get done. And then I have to realize that I have to be okay with that. Because it is what it is. And so, good Lord, we could talk for a year nonstop about marriage, because it's such a, I mean, it's so crazy. We could. But let's focus a little bit on dream poop, because that is fun. And I want you to make sure that you guys are spending some time on yourselves and on dream poop and about what your goals are, because obviously that's like one of the massive reasons I wrote the book. So, and we talk about this, Walt Disney, Abe Lincoln, Milton Hershey, and Henry Ford all went bankrupt. They all had dreams. They chased their dreams, failed, and got back up. Failure is part of every success. So what is your dream? What is it that you want to be doing? Because here's the thing. We as women, wives, mothers, ex-wives, whatever we are, from when we are little, are basically programmed to be told that we want to grow up, get married, have babies, and love every second of our lives. That couldn't be further from the truth. Yes, a lot of us will grow up, get married, and have babies. But it doesn't end there. We have brains and thoughts that extend far beyond that. Obviously, our family is at the core of who we are in terms of loving them and taking care of them and being there for them. But we get to have dreams still. We get to want to and get to do other things that are outside of the family. And so what I want you guys to start to take some time on, and if you haven't done these sheets and if you want to do them, is really figure out what dream poop you have in there, because you really have to focus and give that some attention. I have to always be taking a class and learning something. Okay, great. So let's talk about this dream poop here. So top 5 things you can do to go for whatever your dream is. So, and we've talked about this and touched on this a couple of times, with some people saying they want to go back to school for law enforcement. They want to open a cake shop. They want to sell stuff that they like on Etsy, that they have knitted or, created, sewn, woodworking stuff, whatever it is. What is your dream? Do you want to own a small business? Do you want to go back to school? Do you want to become a nurse? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to become an actress? Do you whatever? Because a lot of times we do things backwards or in a roundabout way in life, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and it is never too late. You can always focus and work on what you want to do in your life. And this doesn't have to be that you have to quit one job to do another. This can totally be hobby related. This can totally just be something that you want to get focused on. And maybe your dream is to, you work in a hospital and you want to start a group for a fitness group for the employees at your hospital, because you're big into fitness and that is really something that you feel super passionate about. Great. Go do it. Get it. Whatever it is, but you got to start, and then there has to be an action for it, because we're going to fail a lot. And that failure could lead to a really, 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 hey Elizabeth, big success. Okay? Because they will. Okay. Gloria is going to learn how to say no more so she can focus on her dream. You need to really get organized and focused. I want to volunteer to hold babies in the hospital. Oh, Christina, I think that's fantastic. I think that's great. Yes, Jillian, but you need to be counseling. Absolutely. Agreed. 100 billion%. So we just need to figure out exactly how we're going to do that. And you need to keep staying off your feet and keep doing what you're doing to get better. And then we can get you back on track. Agreed. But you have to set a plan. What is it that you want to do? Okay. So back when I started this, I knew that I wanted to reach out to women who were like me. I wanted to find every woman on the planet who felt alone, who felt isolated, who felt like she had made sacrifices that she needed to go after now, and do it all while taking care of the kids and the husband and the house and all of those things. And I wanted them to know that they were not alone. You're not alone. You're not crazy. This life is really hard. And this is what life is like. Life is not like what you see on the TV. Life is not keeping up with the Kardashians. Life does not have to be a constant game of keeping up with the Joneses. That's not what it is. It's not trying to outdo, somebody else in your neighborhood that's on Facebook that's always taking a vacation or doing this or doing that. So I was searching for that, and I knew, okay, my dream is to go out and find these women and help these women and let them know that they are doing a great job. Jessica says she wants to own a hair salon by 35. I'm 31 now. Girl, you can get it. You can do it for sure. Yes, Renee. Yes. Getting out of the house, kidless once in a while. There you go, Gabby. Whatever they are, you got to have these goals, right? So set them and then figure out what your action is. So my action was writing in order to reach moms or women who were like me, because I wanted to tell stories. Okay, so I started doing that. Then I realized in order to reach more women, I had to kind of change up the way I was telling my story. So I started making video. So then I had to figure out how to make video. So then I had to teach myself how to make videos to try and get that out. Then when that happened and I started reaching more people using videos, I started really using the Facebook page as a way to really, really drive and reach community. Then I wrote the book. Then I got this idea in my head, about this community. And then we started really pushing towards that. And so I had to set up and go and set up and go and set up and go. And I'm still working really hard to figure out all of the parts and pieces of Hot Mess so that we can, Elizabeth, you're so funny. Thank you, Nicole. So that we can make sure that we're reaching all of the women. No matter what that means, I want to make sure and reach and talk to these women. And I think part of, I'm hopeful that these live shows take off, because it's not just comedy. It's about going out and meeting and talking to and interacting with you guys. And yes, I love to tell jokes, and yes, it's going to be funny, I hope. But the point is to get out there and to meet and to be with you guys and to be in that same room and to have that energy and to be together. And to continue to do this on a larger scale, because I want everybody to know you're not alone. We got your back. We're here for you. And I know that I'm meant to do that because I've watched you guys in here, and this community is exactly like, I know that we're supposed to be doing this, and that the ripple is going to go and go and go and go and go. And so we just have to keep figuring it out, right? As we go. Okay, so I just know that. Okay, so make sure that you are working towards your dreams and your actions, dreams and your actions, dreams and your actions, because you do have to have them, and you will have your failures, and your failures will lead to successes. So chasing your dreams. American Thanksgiving is not today. They're probably just celebrating early so they can do it with families. Amanda, I'm sure you're probably just doing in-laws because you'll be doing yours on the 23rd. It's the 23rd. Us Americans are on the 23rd. You can't hit a target if there's nothing to aim for. So what I used to do was say, yeah, I'm going to write. I'm going to get to it. I owned the domain for a year and never wrote anything. It was really easy to not fail when I did nothing. I just stood still. Dreams don't work unless you do. Make a plan and stick to it. Are your actions in alignment for what you're actually aiming for, which is part of my problem because I'm so scatterbrained. Check yourself weekly. How is it going? What's working? What's not? Okay, that's important. Okay. What 3 things can you do right now to get you closer to your goal? Okay, of let's say owning a salon. What 3 things could you be doing, right? You could start getting together a business plan for what it would actually look like to own that salon. Do you need any more schooling or accreditation or anything like that? You need to really pinpoint that out and map it out. Because standing still is not going to get you 6 chairs in a salon. It's not going to get your face on the billboard. It's not going to get you clients that are coming in, 10, 15, 20 clients a day that are coming in. Have a great night, Elizabeth. That's not going to get it. Not going to get it done. Sitting at home and saying, I wish I had a salon is not going to get it done. It's not. It's going to suck, and it's going to take time, and it's going to take money, and it's going to take energy. I racked up my credit cards, I don't know how many times, building out websites and buying product and doing things before we ever made a single cent on anything. I mean, a lot. Because I was like, there's something here. I need to do this. Taking blogging classes, taking writing courses, working on stuff, charged it. Because I knew I was working towards something. I didn't always know what the end result was going to be. I still don't always know for sure what the end result, and that's okay because it will shift and change. That's okay, but it's important. Because sitting still it's getting you nowhere. So why does your dream matter? What's holding you back? And what will I feel like if I actually obtain my goal? Okay? How do you know that this is a success? How do you know that you're doing the right thing? Right? How do you know? Well, one thing I know with this group, and I was sitting in church today, and I was listening to the sermon, and I was sitting in the back, and the deacon was talking about, will you be ready for the second coming? Will you have done the things that you were supposed to do when it's time to go? And I was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, I feel like I've been a really great mom. I've given myself a lot. I've carried a lot of guilt over the way I've parented. And then when I finally let that go, I really feel like my kids know how much I love them. My husband knows how much I love him. And with what I've been doing in this community and what we've been trying to do and the way I've seen you guys interact with each other, the way I have seen the messages that I've received, the way I have seen you guys care for one another, love one another, message with one another, call each other, talk to each other, I knew that I was going in the right direction and that we need to keep pushing forward and moving forward with figuring out how to make sure that Hot Mess Express gets out to as many people as it can in terms of parenting communities so that they can find each other, find you guys, be with you guys. Because the support is so very, very, very important. And what you guys do for each other is so very, 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 very important. And so I'm not trying to use this community to sell religion by any stretch. I just believe and know that the support that you guys give to each other, what you give to me, and hopefully what I give to you, is something that is so important that we have to continue spreading it. We have to. And so I was talking with my husband, and I was trying to figure out, I was like, okay, we got to figure out how to continue to get this to grow and how to get women who need to be here. Because there are women out there who don't need this message. They've got it figured out. They have, they don't need our tribe. But there are women who are sitting there hiding in a closet right now, crying. They feel like they're failing at life. They feel like they're failing at being a mom and a wife or whatever. And they need this space, and they need you, and they need this tribe. So that's my job. And I'm, if I'm using live comedy shows to spread that message, that's what I'll do. If I'm using my videos to spread that message, that's what I'll do. If I'm using micro blogs or tweets or whatever to share them, that's what I'll do. Because I know that feeling that I had, that place I was in, that dark place, I know that exists for other women, and I want them to know that there's a life raft. And that's what we are. We're that life raft for them, right? So Melissa and Gabby and Jillian and Christina and Amanda and Stacy and Megan, you guys, like, you have these passions and these dreams and these things inside of you, Stephanie, and whatever that is, find it. You know? Oh, Christina, don't cry. Cassandra, this is just it's so important. Yes, Erica, yes. I need you guys to know that you're not alone. And all of the women who are out there that are sitting right there, we need to find a way to get to them to let them know they're not alone. Okay? So, with that being said, that concludes chapters 6 and 7. We didn't even go over very late, which is amazing. Hugs, Christina. Hugs. I just am so thankful that you guys are here and that this is happening. And sometimes it's hard to even fathom that it's actually happening, because you really do never know how your life is going to turn out. So I think what we need to do is just be there for each other and continue to do what you guys are doing and be supportive, and everything else just is, it's better for it. Do you know what I mean? I think. Sorry if I was super rambly tonight. But all right, well, you guys have a fantastic evening. The business manager and I have to go have a team meeting, which is not code for like sex or anything. It's actually a team meeting. So we're going to go in and sit there and plan the week out. Yes, positive vibes, my friends. Thank you, Megan. So you guys have a great night. I'm going to go have a team meeting. You guys go work on your damn goals. Oh, no, Jillian. This is all about this. It's a two-way street, and the support here is nothing I could have ever imagined. Yes, he says. So here's our hug. Here's our hug. And you guys have a super duper great, a team meeting literally just means we're going to go in and get the calendar out for the week. I hope he doesn't think that it means sex, because it doesn't mean the sex. That's not what it means at all. It was super covert secret, Gabby, but he helps me here with this stuff too. But he does actually have a job. But yeah, there's no I in team, Stephanie. Oh, Christina, don't even. Sending lots of love. That was last night. Yes, it was. And he got all the snuggles for guessing all the songs right. All right, you guys have a good one, and I will see you guys very, very soon. I'm sure I'll be popping in sooner rather than later. But have a super duper fantastic evening. Oh, and I'll be in for tomorrow night's Maven Monday anyway, so I'll be in the comments for you guys there. All right, guys, I will see you soon.